do believe that they should. The one thing that I do that we all owe, I didn't make this mistake, but just in case anybody has or does, I want to make sure there's a correct there's clarification on something. When the NBA canceled the All-Star game in Indianapolis, they never canceled the All-Star game. They said we wouldn't be doing it in Indy, but we'll alert you to the details at a later date. So the NBA wants to make it very, very clear. They never canceled the All-Star game. They never intended to cancel the All-Star game. They were just going to relocate it. So this notion that they canceled the All-Star game and then all of a sudden they started it back up is not true. It's inaccurate according to the league. They never canceled the game. Having said all of that, here's why I say they would. Listen, there's a lot of money to be lost, and I do understand that. And normally I'm all about that. And you got a collective bargaining agreement. This is what you committed to. Go ahead and do it. But when you clearly don't appear to be on the same page as the players, and the players have been inconsistent from what I'm being told because some of them wanted to invite their family members there and stuff like that, while you have others saying, why would we want to go to a city that's open? Why should we even have the All-Star game? So there seems to be some inconsistency behind the scenes. But in terms of their public positions, saying they don't want it, the LeBron James of the world, the Giannis Antetokounmpos of the world, and others, De'Aaron Foxes of the world and stuff like that. In terms of that, based on their public position, if they don't want to play this game and fans can't be in attendance, and you have local government officials saying, encouraging people not to come to the city of Atlanta, and that tickets won't be sold to the event, obviously, which means nobody's going to be in attendance. It's all about the fans, All-Star Weekend. Why have it if there can't be anybody there to celebrate with the players? All right, you're going to have it because of money and your contract with the television, but to me, that would mean the players need to be on that page. If the players are willing to cost themselves over $500 million not to have All-Star Weekend, and they're fine with it, I think the NBA shouldn't have it. Now, if they still want the money, but they're saying we don't want the weekend, you can't have it both ways. If you want the money, you got to play. But if you're willing to sacrifice the money, then I think the NBA shouldn't have it based on the times that we're living in right now, just for this year.
Well, let me start by saying the best argument against it, it's probably the one that wins, is the one I hadn't considered until very recently, which is unlike the Super Bowl or any other event you want to mention, here necessarily, in order to play this game, players from all the different teams are going to be flying to the same place. 30 different cities, right? Flying to the same place and then leaving again. So if there is an outbreak, that's a real spreader, right? That's a spreader event, really, to every corner of the country. That probably carries the day. But I want to play devil's advocate, Stephen A. You said All-Star Game weekend is for the fans. I agree. But primarily, just look at the numbers. It's the fans watching on TV. It's not that the players don't have a good time or whatever, or the fans are in a certain city or whatever. That's true, but that's a minority of the people who enjoy All-Star Game Week, the TV show. They're making a TV show. And I think you're right again. If there's not a lot of enthusiasm, that is too bad. But the question is, can you produce an All-Star Game TV show that would be good for the league right now? The answer is yes. Yes, it is possible to produce a very good All-Star Game NBA TV show, and that's what the league is trying to do. That is not impossible to pull off.
Well, look, before I address this, okay, this situation, I just want to say I was watching all three of you senior citizens just a minute ago, you New Yorkers, Stephen A. and Max, and Spike Lee, the great Spike Lee, having that 1935 class reunion on First Take. It was so cute, so precious, so adorable. I just wanted to say that before I get started. Hey, listen, it was so precious. I was like, look at these New Yorkers just reunited, and it feels so good.
Max ain't on you. He's not in New York.
Hey, listen, y'all was so happy, boy. I'm telling you.
Stop
but look,
who's in LA right now?
Look, let me say this. Let me say this about the All-Star Weekend. I think the NBA has dropped the ball. I think the trust has been broken because if we look back before the start of the season, the NBA told the Players Association and the players that they were not going to have an All-Star Weekend. It was part of the agreement. due to the short off season and due to them not having a long training camp and trying to hurry up and get the season going to make sure that we had Christmas Day games. And I feel like the way that the NBA and the Players Association have been working together over the last 7-8 months to a year, even down in the bubble, was a phenomenal thing to see. But they took 2 steps backwards. Here's another reason why I think the All-Star game should not go on. Because of injuries. Guys need time to heal. We're watching teams right now have to play back-to-back games because games are being postponed. We're watching guys get injured. Kevin Durant is out with a hamstring injury. Anthony Davis, calf, Achilles injury right now. CJ McCollum is out. Like, we're watching too many guys being out because they're not being able to, one, have the practice time. They didn't have a full training camp. They're playing makeup games. And on top of all that, it's a pandemic. So I'm not in for the All-Star game. I think a lot of players feel this way, and I just wanted to speak my piece on it.
Kendrick Perkins, Big Perk, I wouldn't interrupt you, but Spike Lee said he wanted to get back up in here. He was listening. He said, I ain't going nowhere. Let me get in on this conversation. So I'm bringing Spike Lee back in right now. Spike Lee, do you believe, as somebody who's attended his share of All-Star games and All-Star weekends over the year, do you believe there should be an NBA All-Star weekend, particularly in Atlanta, Georgia, this season?
No, this Rona ain't no joke. In Atlanta, I got a lot of people in Atlanta, and they going buck wild in Atlanta now like there's no pandemic.
Yeah.
And we know about Magic City, so I want to go there. Let's keep 100.
Yeah.
And look, I support Adam Silver's my guy, but I think we need to just sit this one out. In my opinion.
But, okay.
Yeah, the pandemic that's the winning argument. The winning argument is we're in the middle of a pandemic, and talk about a super spreader event. If there's anyone with COVID there and if you contact trace, once they all go back to their home cities, you got to trace all through the country at that point.
Okay, but let me throw this out.
The whole league is shut down.
I'm going to throw this out to everybody. But let me throw it to Spike first. What the NBA basically is saying is, you got guys. They're going to be chartered in on jets. It's going to be the night before. It's going to be simply a one-day event. They're not going to have access to a whole bunch of folks on the outside. And as a result, in that regard, they're going to be safe. That's their mentality. What do you all say to that? Spike, I'll start with you.
They fly chartered anyway. Then the regular season, they're still canceling games. Just because you fly chartered doesn't mean that you can't get hit by that 19, that Rona.
Go ahead, KP.
Well, I'm going to say this. It goes back to my point of, rest for the body, making sure guys staying healthy, and decompressing. Stephen A., I can't think of his name right now, and I'm sorry, but I read a story where assistant coach from the Indiana Pacers he walked away from the game, but I think it was the Pacers because of his mental health. And don't quote me, but an assistant coach in the NBA walked away because he said that it was getting to him. We're not really, I think, emphasizing what these players are going through on a day-to-day basis just to play games. They're stuck in hotel rooms. That is mentally exhausted. And we're not giving them credit for them having to take tests and do all the COVID protocols on a day-to-day basis just for them to, one, go to work, but for two, to entertain the world and play the game of basketball. So they already sacrificing a lot. And again, you asking them for them that they would have time off to sacrifice even more.
Go ahead, Max. Go ahead, Max.
Stephen A.
I would say to your aunt, I would say that. Go ahead, Spike. Go ahead,
Spike. I'm sorry, we didn't hear you.
Stephen, I love the point you made. You can't have it both ways. Either you're going to sit out or you're going to play. But you can't expect the league to say, okay, you guys sit out and you still get paid at the same time. It don't work like that. This is
Max, I'll throw it to you by saying this. Somebody in the league told me weeks ago, they did say this about the players. They said, quote, Stephen A., Not one single player came to us and said, here's your money back. In the event that we lose money.
Right.
That's why I came up with the you can't have it both ways. Max, what do you say to all of that?
I'll say this. What you presented, the case for the league is real. They have a compelling case. I think ultimately you losers because of what Spike said, the pandemic is the thing, right? But the league is, and then also it's supposed to be a game that celebrates, it's an exhibition that celebrates the game. But if none of the players are enthusiastic, or the most important players like LeBron James have already publicly said they're not enthusiastic about the game, then how much fun, it's really a TV show, how much fun are the fans watching that show going to have? But Stephen A., the league's point, these dudes are going to be flying in on private jets, right? There'll be strict protocols. I know they don't love the idea. It's like one day in and out. As soon as the game's over, they're bouncing again. And in the meantime, at a time when sports ratings are down during the pandemic because there are bigger things going on, let's celebrate the game and put our best foot forward and give the fans a TV show that they like. I get that too.
You know what else we're going to celebrate? We have two birthdays today, two legends sharing a birthday today. First of all, we have 58-year-old Michael Jordan. We also have 85-year-old Jim Brown. But gentlemen, you know what? This wouldn't be First Take if we didn't have some sort of debate attached to this. So two other legends, LeBron James and Tiger Woods, they also happen to share a birthday. That's on December 30th. So I ask you, Stephen A., which is the greater birthday duo? Is it MJ and Brown, or is it LeBron and Tiger?
MJ is 6 for 6 with NBA Finals and NBA Finals MVP.